Yo, friends. So, want to go over a little something with you. Have you ever bought one of those files on Etsy or gotten it from another location, and it's probably a box or a toy or something along those lines. When you go to import it into Laserbox, it won't actually work. It'll give you a message like this saying it's too big. The reason for that is because these file sets that you buy don't come as one file per piece. They come as one giant file. So in Laserbox, it doesn't know what to do with that. Um, it'll ask you, do you want to scale it out? If you say no, you end up with something you can't use because you can see a very small piece of it, and everything else is outside the workspace, and you can neither see it nor grab it nor anything like that. And if you say yes, um, it'll do its best to bring it in. But it's not usable or what you wanted. Um, this is completely, way smaller than what it was supposed to be. And a lot of times, these tabs and whatnot, they're not going to fit, because this file, according to the little logo up here, was set up for 4 millimeter material, and everything is spaced appropriately. So how do you get around this? So I'm going to show you a way to do that using a program called Inkscape. It's free. It has a bunch of different features in it, but I'm only going to focus on this one. So for starters, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of everything except one of our low scaled pieces, just so we can have something we can compare with in a bit. Alright, in Inkscape, we're going to start a new document. We'll wait for it to load up real quick. Inkscape isn't always the quickest thing in the world, at least on my laptop. Alright, once it's open, we're going to go to our file, and we are not going to say open. We're going to say import. There's a difference. Lightburn users already know the difference, or should know the difference between open and import. We want import in this case. And I know what the name of this file is, from another D1 owner, which is who I'm actually making this for originally. We'll just say OK here, and we wait for it to load up. And if we go ahead and zoom out, now you can kind of understand why Laserbox couldn't figure out what to do. It would probably give you this little bit right here, and that's it, because it doesn't know what else to do. So right now, like I said, this is all one piece. You see the dotted outline? But we need the individual pieces. So how do we do that? Well, we right click and we say ungroup. Depending on the file, that may be all you need to do at this stage. Sometimes, because of how they've grouped everything together, we're going to need to say ungroup again. We know we're at the right spot when you see we've now got all these little dotted lines around instead of one big outline. Those dotted lines are indicating individual pieces. Though over here, if we take a look, no, actually those are all together. Let's take a look up here and see what they have to say. Yeah, see, these are all cut to individual little sections and pieces. So, in order to get these into Laserbox, what we need to do is we need to break this down into individual files. So what we're going to do, since we're already selected, we're going to do Shift and select on one piece, so that leaves everything else selected. We're going to say delete to get rid of everything else, and then we're going to do save as. We're going to save this one little piece as an SVG. So we're going to call this part 1. Why? Because I've decided this is what we're going to call it. First part. Alright, it has been saved, so we'll do Control Z twice to bring back everything else. And then we'll select everything again. Do a Shift select on the next piece we want to do. Delete, so everything else disappears. And again, we can do save as. And this time we'll say part 2. Control Z twice, it brings everything back. So over, we basically just go through and we get all of our files, or all of our shapes, export it out, and then we're all happy. On the Laserbox side, we can then import and go into wherever I save them. Here's part 1. Oh, look at that. Though it looks like we got a little extra in there that I wasn't paying attention to. But I can delete him. Gone. Now, this piece and this piece, these are identical. This is the one that Laserbox resized, and this is the one we wanted. So you see, a complete size difference. Now, we're not stuck doing one piece at a time. We can go and we can import piece number 2. And start kind of filling up all of our little area. And since these are SVGs, every single one, and they're not grouped together, we can have one. I want you to do all cuts. I want you to do as fast as you possibly can, which may or may not actually cut. And then over here, he's still, I want you just to engrave. But yeah, you can set each individual piece out the way you want it and whatnot, and so everybody can be happy, right? And that's pretty much it. Once you've got everything set up, you can send it off to a job. You can also refill the entire workspace with all the parts if you want, and then do an export and save it like that. So later, if you want to bring back the file set and redo it, you always have it on hand. That's always a good one for, like I said, things you want to repeat often. But that's really it. So hopefully this helps.